What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Locked in Sports, bringing you my six best bets for today, Tuesday, July 16th, in the NBA Summer League. That's right, another day, another Summer League best bets video. Really love making these videos, getting them out to you guys. I'm having a ton of fun with this Summer League, with all these rookies, sophomores, all these young guys. And got six picks today that I really like a lot, really confident in. Uh, and also, something new, at the end of the video, I've got a few total points lines that I've looked at that I feel really confident in taking the over-unders for those. As requested in the comments of previous videos, I was getting asked to look at some total points lines, and I've done real good research for these. Got a lot of data and a lot of reasoning to back up my picks, and they're going to be talked about at the end of the video after my six player props. Yeah, but before I hop into those six player props, got to hop into a recap. Before I hop into the recap, I just want to say thank you. You guys have been insane with the support recently, and I know I'm saying this every video, but I can't say thank you enough because every video I put up seems like it's doing the best that any video has ever done on my channel, which is really gratifying to see. The new influx of subscribers, the crazy amount of views, all the likes and comments I'm getting are just really gratifying and really awesome to see. So thank you all very, very much for all that. And if you are new to the channel, you want to join us over here, make some money with some great player props and bets, then consider subscribing, turning on notifications so you know when new videos drop. I'm getting these videos out as soon as I can, but the lines like to drop really, really late, so I have to do all my research and editing and recording and everything when I get up in the morning, which is definitely makes these videos get out a lot later than if I could do them the night before. But yeah, so consider subscribing, turn on notifications, and if you like these player props, you like these picks, leave a like and a comment down below with your own picks, parlays, and all that. But with that all out of the way, let's hop into a recap of yesterday. It was a 3-3 day, but man, those three misses were close. Felt good about a lot of those picks and just right on the cusp. So what hit, what didn't? Well, what hit? What hit really easily? AJ Mitchell. We took him for over 16 and a half points. He had 21. He was on fire. Love that there. Solid pick. We've taken it before, took it again. No complaints about him there. He was great. Isaiah Collier for under 23 and a half PRA. Same deal. We took that one before, took it again. He went under again. We got a couple picks today that are like that we've taken them before and they've hit, and we're taking them again. Man, if nothing changes about the player and nothing changes about the line, I'm going to keep taking that line, keep writing it out because it's going to keep making us money. So love that pick right there. And one lower that really made us sweat. Mason Jones, lower than 13 and a half points. Man, he had 13. I was sweating the entirety of that fourth quarter, hoping he didn't get one more basket, and he didn't. Really glad about that. Sweaty one, but a hit. So what didn't hit for us? Well, had some rough ones. Jaime Jaquez, we had him for over 6.5 rebounds. He had 5. He was 2 under. He just didn't play the way I thought he was going to play. Thought he'd be bringing down a lot more boards to bring the ball up the court, and he left a lot of the boards to his teammates. Didn't grab as many as before. That's really unfortunate. But that's knowledge we take into the future for future picks about how the Heat are going to play. And then two really heartbreaking ones. Man, Ricky Council. We had him for over 20 and a half points. He had a slow start. I think he only had 2 points in the first half. And then he had 16 in the second. Man, he was fighting to beat this line in the second half. And he did what I thought he was going to do. He had the most points on his team. I believe he also had the most or the second most shots on his team. That's exactly where we wanted him. We just needed one more three to fall or one more free throw and a layup. Just, yeah. He was where we wanted him at. Just needed one more basket to fall. It's unfortunate. Same deal here with Dalton Connect. Man, for over 20 and a half. He ended with 19. Absolutely heartbreaking. Slower first half, great second half. Couldn't quite clutch it up in the fourth. It's unfortunate. But again, he's where we wanted him at. Taking the most shots on his team, putting up the most points on his team. That's why I like backing a guy. And it's just one of those unfortunate things that comes with sports betting. And this is something that I've said on the channel before, and I'll say it again. I do my research for these picks. I put out picks that I'm proud of. I take all these picks myself, and they're well researched and they're backed in statistics. Statistics isn't 100%. Sometimes these picks are going to miss, but I do like it when a player does what we expect them to do. Like those guys, yeah, they did what we thought they were going to do. Still feels like a good, well researched pick. Need one more basket to fall, and it's unfortunate that that basket didn't fall. But if you keep trusting the statistics, keep trusting the process, we will make money in the long run. We're always gonna, because that's how stats works. But with that very, very lengthy intro out of the way, let's hop into today's picks. For my first pick of the day, taking a player from the New York Knicks, it's Jacob Toppin for over 15.5 points. Why are we taking him here? Well, he scored 19 last game, and he was one of only two players in double digits. He had the second highest points and the second highest shooting volume on his team, so spot we like taking a player. And he was one of only two stars without a negative plus minus on the field. So his coaches are definitely going to like having him out there because he's not a detriment to the team. What else is really important here? Well, the Knicks only played two forwards last game and two centers as compared to six guards. And Toppin had far more minutes than any other paint player, suggesting that he is their main guy in the paint. Making him a lot more reliable to back than a guard. There were some other guards that had lines out. They had good games or, thought maybe we could take them. But I just like backing Toppin a lot more because he's their main paint guy. There's a lot of guards out there. Someone else could have a great game, and we could be screwed if we back one of them. We could pick the wrong guy. But for paint players, Toppin's the only one who's going to be consistent. He's the only one who's going to be getting a lot of minutes. He's the only one that's going to be reliable. That's why I like backing him. He's their main guy in the paint, and that isn't going to change because they don't have any other options. So I'm taking Jacob Toppin, not Obi Toppin, Jacob Toppin for over 15.5 points. Next up, we're taking the man himself, Midas Buzelis, for over 16.5 points. Why? Well, he had 15 and then 28 points, so scored almost double what he did in his first game. And his volume and scoring both increased in his second game. It's a spot we like backing a player. His volume's going up and his scoring's going up. He took the most shots and scored the most or the second most on his team in both games. So he's the main guy on offense. He's the main one taking shots. So he's getting a lot of opportunities to blow past this line. And look, he's able to get to the line better than anyone else on his team in terms of getting free throws. And he shoots the three ball better than anyone else on his team. And he's a forward. So he's still getting in the paint. He's still getting those layups and muscling in for some good value there. He's a jackknife on offense. He's doing everything for his team, and I like backing him there because that's not going to change. Oh no, he doesn't shoot the three ball as much. Okay, he's still getting to the line and he's still playing in the paint. He's not playing in the paint as much. Okay, he's still shooting the three ball, still getting to the line. Same thing if he doesn't get to the line as much, he's still shooting the three ball and getting in the paint. He's scoring in way too many ways for him to be locked down completely and go under this line. He's their entire offense, so I'm backing Midas Buzelis for over 16.5 points. Next up, we're taking another Chicago Bull, teammate of Midas Buzelis, and it's Adama Sonogo for over 14.5 points. Apologize if I pronounced his name wrong, but taking his over. Really strong center for the Bulls, and he earned his starting center role. He came off the bench in his first game, but played better than their starting center, earned his way into the starting role, and played really solid center again, going over this line in his last two games, only two games played, and really he's their main option in the paint. I talked up Midas Buzelis as being able to score there, as being able to get in, but Sonogo is their main option in the paint, and there's really no one else to take that role. Yeah, he's taking the second most shots on the team behind Buzelis, and he's the really only solid scorer other than Modest. And yeah, I like taking these two guys for the Rovers. Even though they're on the same team, they're the two guys that are being consistent, that are being solid and strong, that are going over their lines, that are making themselves useful in the Bulls offense, and I don't see that changing. Midas Buzelis has only gotten better. Sonogo has only gotten more minutes and been just as consistent. So I'm backing him, backing Dama Sonogo for over 14 and a half points. All right, next up, got a player, familiar name, someone we've backed before, and man, did he cash out for us. It's Julian Strother of the Denver Nuggets for over 21 and a half points. Why? Because he blew past this line 2 games in a row. His first game, he had 25 points. In his second game, he had 32. And honestly, my notes for this guy, I just copy and pasted from the last video because nothing's changed. Added some more about how he's gotten even better. Like, he had almost twice as many shots as anyone else on his team, twice. Yeah, first game, he was 7 from 19, 3 from 10 for 3, and 8 from 10 from the line. And I said in that video that, hey, maybe his shooting gets even better. That's not a percentage where he can't keep improving. And that's what he did. He went out there, he shot 10 from 21 overall, 6 from 12 from 3, 50%, and 6 from 10 from the line. He's just solid, consistent shooting. It's improving. He's playing great. And look, you might think, oh, well, what if they're up against a good defense? It doesn't matter. The Clippers held Denver to 78 points, and Strother still had 25. Toronto held them to 81 points, and Strother had 32. He's their main guy on offense. He's their entire offense. He's wild. It doesn't matter what the defense throws against him or how much they hold the rest of his team to. Strother goes out there, he does his thing, he scores like crazy. His volume's only going up. His percentage is only going up. Yeah, I think his line's way too low, insultingly low. Taking Julian Strother for over 21 and a half points. Next up, it's actually another familiar name. We're taking Terrence Shannon for over 23 and a half PRA. We backed him for his points line before, and he hit. He had 25 points in his first game, 19 points in his second, went over his lines both time. But why I like taking his PRA instead of his points line is his rebounds and assists increased from 3 and 0 to 3 and 4. So slight dip in scoring between those 2 games, but that's because he was becoming more of a facilitator for his team, getting a lot more assists, being a bigger playmaker. So I like taking his PRA. Look, he's finding a role as both a scorer and a facilitator on his team, doing both at a high level, and that's working for his team, and I don't see it changing. 76ers are also on a back to back. That's who Terrence Shannon is up against today. They're on a back to back. They might be giving up some more points, some more easy buckets for Shannon's teammates that lead to some assists for him. Might be missing a lot of shots, lead to some rebounds for Terrence Shannon. I just think there's a million ways for this guy to beat this line. He could go out there and be a menace with points and just go over it with points alone, like he did that first game, or he could go out there and be great with points, but also facilitate a ton, grab a bunch of boards, dish out a bunch of dimes, go over this line that way. I just think there's too many ways for him to beat this line and not enough, none, honestly, for him to go under. So I'm taking Terrence Shannon for over 23 and a half PRA. All right, we're up to the sixth and final pick of the day. Thank you guys for bearing through all of this yapping, all these stats, and all this stuff that I'm throwing at you to explain these picks. But final pick of the day, it's Carlton Carrington for over 25 and a half PRA. Yeah, it's a pretty high line, but I really like this guy because, well, he's been over it in both of his games played so far in the Summer League. And his shot attempts increased from a very evenly spread offense in game one to an offense that clearly favored Carrington and his teammate Champagne in game two. The Washington offense was like I said very even in game one. They're clearly favoring Carlton now, so it's a spot that I like to back him in. And he had the most shot attempts for his team last game. Again, spot I really like back him in. And he had 8 and 9 rebounds plus assists in his first game, and then 4 rebounds, 5 assists in his second game. So he's getting out there and he's rebounding, assisting really well as well, which is helping him go over this line. And even in that worst game, where only had 4 and 5, it's crazy to call him like 4 and 5 for a rookie of worst game. But even in that game, he still hit his points or his rebounds and assist line, so he's not hurting his PRA line and just kind of went over it in points. So Yeah, I'm talking a lot, but basically, very similar story to Terrence Shannon, who we talked about before, where Carlton Carrington's the main facilitator on his team. He's gotten a lot of boards, he's dishing out a lot of dimes, he's scoring a lot. There's just a lot of ways for him to go over this PRA line. Yeah, can't say enough good things about this guy. He's the main focal point of their offense. So, yeah, backing Carlton Carrington for over 25 and a half PRA. All right, those were my six best bets for today, Tuesday, July 16th, in the NBA Summer League. Lot longer video than normal. But that's just because I want to give you guys as much reasoning and as much data as I can because I understand that picks aren't always going to hit and it's frustrating. That's why I don't like just putting my picks out there with no reasoning. It would be a lot easier to just say six names and lines, put them on the screen, get out this video. But I like explaining why I'm taking who I'm taking so you guys know that I'm not giving you BS, that I'm giving you well researched picks with a lot of logic behind them. And if you guys don't agree with my logic, you know exactly what it is, so you can opt to not take the pick if you think I'm being crazy. But yeah, I think it's a lot better to just explain to you guys why I'm taking the picks than to not. But now, as promised, some full game points lines that I looked at that I really like. Got four of them. This is kind of my first crack at really talking about these lines in a video and fully fleshing them out. So let's see how they go. First up, I like the Pacers versus Suns for over 177 and a half points. The Pacers have given up 97 and 105 points while scoring 94 and 95. The Suns gave up 90 last game and scored 73 against a really surprisingly strong Golden State defense. The Pacers have a worse defense, and the Pacers are likely scoring in the 90s again, like they've been doing. The Suns are likely up in the 80s or 90s as well, at the very least, the high 80s. And yeah, also, really important to note, the Suns played every single player on their roster last game. They were really testing everyone out, playing a lot of guys that were getting no points. They were just chucking up shots and missing them. So that's why I really like backing this here, because I think the Suns do a lot better this game. They're no longer testing out their roster. They have the guys they like. They're going to go and play them. So I think this is a really high scoring game from two kind of weaker defensive teams with decent offenses. Next up, the Knicks versus the Nets. I'm taking the under, 176 and a half points. Both just haven't had a strong offensive showing so far, even against weak defenses like the Pacers, who are giving up, over 100 points. Neither of these teams have really had too strong of an offensive showing. They're both stronger defensive teams. Oh, I see a low-scoring game here. Lots of defense being played, and not as many points. Next up, 76ers versus the Timberwolves, taking the over 176 and a half points. Why? Well, both teams are averaging in the 90s for their games, which puts them scoring in the 180s, 190s totals. And their opponents are averaging high 80s in both games they've played. So clearly, they're scoring a lot, and their opponents are they're giving up a lot of points as well. They're letting their opponents score a lot. So I think this is a game where I wouldn't even be surprised to see the total for here go over 200. Lastly, for the full game points lines that I like, I'm looking at the Clippers versus the Bucks for over 173 and a half points. Both teams are averaging in the mid to high 80s, which puts them right on this line. But the Bucks, honestly, are terrible defensively. I think the Clippers can just kind of capitalize on that. I don't want to be too mean to the Bucks, but they just haven't had a strong defensive showing yet. Their opponents are just running all over them. And both teams, or sorry, teams in general in the summer league are really playing until the whistle blows right now. Um, and the Clippers are in a spot where they could be competing for a position in the semifinals, and semifinal position is determined first by a record and second by point differential. And I think the Clippers know that this is a good option, a good opportunity, against a weak Bucks defense to just rack up points so that if it does come down to point differential, the Clippers can make it into the semis. So yeah, I think the Clippers just trounce the Bucks, just run all over them, score 105, 110 points, and the Bucks are still there, scoring in the 80s. So yeah, those were four total game points lines that I like a lot. We'll go over whether or not they hit or missed in the next video, but that's all for today. So if you guys are still watching to the very end, thank you very, very much for watching. And if you're new to the channel, as always, subscribe, turn on notifications. The channel growth has been crazy recently, so come on, join in, be a part of that. Really appreciate having you all here. If you took some of these picks, if you liked them, leave a like on the video. And let me know what picks you took in the comments down below. Let me know your picks, your parlays. If there's any players that you really like that I didn't talk about, any obvious picks you think I missed, let me know. Tell me why I'm right or why I'm wrong in the comments. Happy to talk about it down there with you, debate with you guys. Only makes me a better. And if there's anything else you guys want to see in these videos, let me know as well. Like I said, these total game points lines were a suggestion in the comments from previous videos. Decided to make it a full-on part of the channel here. And yeah, let's see how it goes. So thank you all very much for watching. If you want some fantasy football content, and recently put out a fantasy football video on the channel that's on the screen right now, or will be soon, talking about the most underrated players in the fantasy football draft this year. Fun video that I like a lot that you guys can check out. It's a bit of a longer form one. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Let's make some money. Yeah.